In the sun position, which talks about you, we have got the Judgment card reversed. Not following the rules, Scorpio. I really okay. I'm thinking, like I said, that I pick up this element of sneakiness, and let me be honest. I'm not picking that up in a bad way. I'm enjoying it, and I'm a Scorpio rising and moon, so I'm not picking on you guys. I'm picking up though some rule breaking. Now this is a major arcana, so this isn't lightweight energy that we are playing around with. And this is the 20th major arcana. This talks about the final judgment, and either the final judgment is being delayed, whether that's voluntary or involuntary, or Scorpio, based on some of the things that we might choose to do in the month of February. Let's go back maybe and take a look at our value system, because fault or not of our own, of your own, if lest ye we be judged, then there could be some problems around that. Now, the other thing, let me say this, Scorpio, is I feel like because this talks about you and who you are, maybe Scorpio, people aren't doing what you want them to do this month. And maybe this month you feel like that everybody is just dumb. Everybody is off their rocker. Nobody can get it right with you, Scorpio. But Scorpio, as intuitive as you are, I don't know if when you might be making judgments about people this month, if you are actually making those judgments based on your intuition. I kind of feel like these judgments may be based on maybe things just not going quite the way that you want them to go. So I don't know necessarily if the judgments that are that you could possibly make this month are fair judgments. I think that this too could be about a lack of discretion, Scorpio. Like I just said, doing some things in very public, private places. We may not be using a fair amount of discretion this month. So let's keep that in mind, Scorpio. In the moon position, which is going to talk about our emotions, what makes us feel safe. It could possibly talk about our mother. This is what goes on in our dreams, in our private life, our personal relationships, if I hadn't said that already, the home. We've got the High Priestess. For me, not a better place it could be. So, Scorpio, your intuition is what it always is. Scorpio, it is honestly, when you know something, you know it. The chances of you being wrong about your gut, your intuition, the typical Scorpio stuff, but it's the truth. The chances of you being wrong, slim to none. And that's why I say, I feel like, if you are judging somebody this month, Scorpio, it's not based on your intuition. Your intuition is on point. It's right. You know what's up. You know the truth. You know the ultimate truth about whatever is going on with you. But I don't know, maybe if you're not fairly judging people, or if you have, or you may just be choosing not to use discretion, even though you absolutely know all things top to bottom. I feel like you don't miss anything this month, Scorpio. Whatever comes up in your dreams, whatever you are feeling on a psychic level, I feel like all the clairs with you this month. The four clairs, for those of you who don't know about the four clairs, it's clairvoyance, which is clear seeing; clairaudience, which is clear hearing; clairsentience, which is clear feeling; and claircognizance, which is clear knowing. All of that is right with you, Scorpio. So, but that doesn't, just because we know exactly what it is, doesn't always make us make the best decisions. And I'm kind of feeling like, Scorpio, that may be a little bit of what's going on. You know what's right. You know what's up. You know which way is left. You know what's right. Which way is right. But you may be choosing to do something different. You may be choosing to go another way. And I would love for, I hope that I see what it is that Scorpio is so drawn to this month that could be making you go against your better judgment. In the Mercury card, Mercury position, we have got the Queen of Wands reversed. The Queen of Coins reversed, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Scorpio, you could be putting your all into this person, but not getting what you should be getting out of it. You may be putting a whole lot of work. You may be even sitting around thinking about what you can do better on a physical level. And that includes sex, in order to make it right with this person, or in order to make things better with this person. And it could be against your better judgment. Whatever it is you feel is the truth. Now, for some of you Scorpios on a more mundane level, some of you may be putting a lot of care and nurture into something, but not allowing yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Some of you may be thinking about some renovation, like I said, on a more mundane level. I think some of you could be thinking about some home renovations. You could be talking about it. Some of you could even be considering some cosmetic surgery. And with that, this is with us being in the shadow of the Venus retrograde. For those of you who may be considering any cosmetic surgery or any home renovations, I would strongly suggest that you wait until after retrograde season, not even a little bit beyond Venus retrograde. I don't feel like that this is a good time to do that. You might find yourself financially strapped, if nothing else, or it may not. You may have these wild ideas. I want to do something different. I want to, there's no telling what you might do with Venus retrograde if you try to make some cosmetic adjustments to anything. You may look back after the retrograde season is over and be like, what was I thinking? So if you, some of you Scorpios are in fact thinking about that, it's just a suggestion, but I would suggest you hold off if you can until after the retrograde season. Scorpio, also I want to talk about, the lunar eclipse that's going to be happening. And it's going to be happening and maybe a loose square to you. But whatever's going to happen, with this lunar eclipse in Leo that is going on with your emotions, it's going on with your personal life. You know, I feel like this is a battle of your intuition versus your discernment, and they're both trying to block one another. But I'm feeling like if you, Scorpio, if you handle this right, there's some major growth for you. And I feel like for a lot of you Scorpios, it involves this particular relationship, as I talked about at the top of the video. For some of you Scorpios who are involved in this addictive relationship, and I think that you both are addicted, but I think it's for the wrong reasons. And I'm not saying that you two can't be right together, but there's some things that the two of you need to straighten up. There's some things that the two of you need to, you know, face the real. If you want to be with this person, if this person wants to be with you, and if you want the outcome to end up being some sort of healthy relationship, you know, I think this lunar eclipse that we're about to have in Leo, Scorpio, I'm feeling like some of you may be addicted to this person because he's got some, or she has some sort of status. I see some sort of public status. I think you might be attracted to this person because they are the man or the woman. And I'm not saying that's the extent of your attraction, but I keep seeing somebody, some public figure, somebody who may be known in the community, you know, at the very least. But it's somebody who, at least in your eyes, is the man, like I said, or the woman. But I think that something comes up, and it's Scorpio, with this solar eclipse that's coming up in Pisces, that's going to be happening in your 5th house, and this talks about your romantic relationships. Ooh. I think that something's going to come up for you in this person, and it may already be coming up. But if the two of you handle this right, and you've got to use your intuition, Scorpio, because like I said, you may not be using your better judgment, and you know, and discernment may be out the window because you see so much into this person, and I think this person sees into you too. And I, you know, with this lunar eclipse that we're about to have in Leo, that is going to square, it squares Scorpio. So yeah, there's, you know, one's trying to block the expression of the other. But like I said, handled correctly, there's growth, you know, and success on the back end if you handle it right. And I think that's going to take both of you. Okay. In the Venus position, it talks about, you know, love or money, how we receive love, what, you know, what we're attracted to it, the way we would like to receive love, our creative expression, things of that nature. Let's see what we got here, Scorpio. Ooh, we got the 7 of Swords. Scorpio. And so, you know, we got 20 here. 20 reduces to 2. And then we've got 2 with the High Priestess. I still feel like, Scorpio, in some ways, you just want to walk away from the truth about this person that you're dealing with. It's like you want to just leave some information out of the equation. You're trying to feel outside of the box in order to salvage, this connection between the two of you. But I just don't know, Scorpio, if that's the right thing to do, because the information that you are leaving behind is necessary for you to have. It's going to be necessary for you to see all of the information, for you to join the light and the dark, for you to take it to the altar and face the truth and get to the truth in order for you to make the proper decisions and choices. In order for you to resolve any inner and outer conflict that you might have with this person, it's great for you to find alternative ways to feel and to go about it, but not at the expense of compromising who you are and compromising your own true knowing, because you want to pour so much into this Queen of Coins for some of you Scorpios. And in the Mars position, so Mars is in the sign of Aries now, and this talks about, this is a new start to all of our actions. It's a new start to our energy. It's a fresh start. Aries is a cardinal sign. Aries is a fire sign. And we are having that lunar eclipse in the sign of Leo, which is also a fire sign. So there's a lot of passion, a lot of fire, a lot of energy going on. I think for a lot of us, though, some of this energy can be misdirected. It can be impulsive because while Mars rules Aries and it's perfectly at home in the sign of Aries, like I told Libra, you can't tell Mars nothing when it's in its own home, when it's in its own spot. Since Mars rules Aries, Mars is perfectly comfortable in the sign of Aries. And Mars is going to throw its weight around. It's going to do what it wants to do. And you're not going to come in and tell Mars nothing while it's in the sign of Aries. That's his spot. So good luck with that for all of us that will be trying to resist. I don't think Mars and Aries is going to let that happen. I'm sorry. Ooh, that was crazy. Anyway, now the other thing too is Mars rules Scorpio. So Scorpio, fresh energies is, what I'm getting. Need for new, fresh directions. But watch out for impulsivity and selfishness and abrasiveness and being abrupt. Because I think, with Mars being in Aries, I think that it's going to affect you, Scorpio, like I said, inwardly and outwardly. And Scorpio, it'll be happening in your first house of the physical body. I said at the top of the video that I think that, some of you Scorpios, might be doing some sneaky little stuff in public, private places. Because I think that the sex drive for some of you Scorpios is very, very high this month. And then Venus is we're in Venus retrograde season. I don't know if I talked about that with you guys already or if it was Libra. And so, somebody that, may pop back up, I think we could be having high sexual energies for or sexual attraction to. And it just, I don't know, maybe Scorpio, maybe it's not quite the right way to go. I'm not saying that for sure, but maybe we should look at a little bit more of the information with the Seven of Swords right here when it comes to who it is that we are attracted to this month and who we may be dealing with when Venus goes into retrograde. Really, really, you're taking on a lot of information, but there's more to be known. More to be had, more to be gotten, more to be desired. So I'm coming back to say that I'm feeling like too that with Mars in the sign of Aries, which it rules as well as your sign Scorpio and is ruling your first house of the physical body. I feel like that some of you or some of us can be feeling so sexually motivated that we don't take the time to use discernment. Now, I'm not saying that we out here just having sex with any and everybody, but I'm saying we could be giving ourselves to people who, you know, maybe at this point don't actually deserve to have us. You see what I'm saying? And Scorpio, you know, lots of us choose our connections. You know, when we're trying to connect at a soul level, that comes for a lot of us through sex. I read it somewhere a while back that the only way that a Scorpio can truly reach ultimate peace and relaxation is through sex. Now, I'm not saying that that's the end all be all. What I am saying is that you know, I can lend some accountability to that. You know, I won't say that's the only thing. I've certainly, there's other things. Like, I love to meditate. You know, I love to sit in the quiet. And, you know, I love to feel universal energies. And I got to be honest, sometimes it's better than sex. Just knowing that that you can connect with all that there is. Yeah. You know, I'm going to have to say sometimes sex is number two. But at the same time, I certainly understand, you know, yeah. This ain't about me. Moving on, Mars. Okay, so we got the Knight of Wands and sex. Scorpio, sex, impulsivity. You know, but your heart is in the right place. You know, Knight of Wands. Wow, in the Aries position, baby. If this is you or if this is somebody else, they bringing it. They coming with it. They got an energy, or this may be you, because this is a Mars position, and I'm feeling like this is where your passions lie, how your desire is this month. And Scorpio, yeah, for a lot of you, this is definitely about planting your flag, male or female. And this is for same-sex relationships too. I feel like you go hard this month, Scorpio, sexually. I feel like you're trying to make those connections. But, you know, I'm not going to say that that it's necessary to, I'm not saying that this is just to fulfill a physical need with you, Scorpio. I really don't think that at all. It's just like I just said a moment ago, using sex to make those soul connections. I don't feel like a lot of you Scorpios are out here running around willy-nilly. I think that there is somebody that, you know, you feel something with that. I mean, you know, it's like those physical feelings may be in overdrive for you this month. Now, at the same time, some of you Scorpios, this may not be about sex at all. Some of you may have found out that your spouse or your significant other was up to no good, and you're going at them. But, you know, now the Knight of Wands, I always say the Knight of Wands is a lot of times putting out there a lot of things that we wish we could, because the Knight of Wands, you know, he gets the party started. He sets it off. He may get distracted easily because he's got, you know, so many irons in the fire, but his heart is always in the right place. And with that being said, Scorpio, if some of you, if this is not sexual with you, if some of you are putting your actions into, you know, possibly beating the hell out of somebody that you feel like maybe has wronged you with this Seven of Swords, because the Seven of Swords one of the things that it talks about specifically is cheating, infidelity. You know, I was trying to leave that alone, but, you know, I've got to go ahead and address that, especially with sex coming up so heavily right now in the past few minutes. But, you know, I feel like if some of you Scorpios are in fact, you know, trying to beat the snot out of somebody, that while maybe you shouldn't do it that way, your heart is in the right place. That's all I can say. You know, it's like you're not doing it for no reason, because you know what you know. But let me just say, Scorpio, don't beat anybody up. Don't beat anybody up, because you know if you end up in a holding cell, things may not go the way that you want to. So don't beat anybody up. Hold off on that. Okay, so in the Jupiter position, it talks about good luck and the expansion of things. It talks about acquisitions and spirituality. Jupiter is about to retrograde Scorpio in your 11th house. You know what? Yeah, Jupiter is in your 11th house in the sign of Libra. So, you know, this is going to talk about, just like I told Libra, going back and asking yourself when it comes to friendships and organizations and groups, you know, when it comes to the energy you put towards your hopes and dreams, Jupiter is going to give you a chance to go back and, you know, ask yourself, in my dealings with these friends and groups and organizations, in my attempt to go against the grain, you know, was that fair? Was that necessary? Did everybody get what they wanted on the deal? You know, I think you're going to go get a chance. You're going to get a chance to go back, and within those areas that I just named, really identify whether or not there was a level of fairness and balance. I'm sorry about this glare too in those situations. So let's see what's going on with Jupiter. We got the Queen of Wands reversed. And what I'm going to say in that situation is this could be somebody that you are dealing with. Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Somebody very fiery energy, or this could be what you may be projecting. You know, it may come to a point in the month of February where you have to reel it in, Scorpio, where you may, because this Knight of Wands, I feel like the Knight of Wands may make the mistake of going so hard that while Scorpio, you may make some advancements, I'm almost getting the feeling that if you don't use discernment, if you end up going too hard, if you don't have all the facts, if you allow yourself to pour more into a particular person that is deserved, that is more than that is deserved or necessary, I don't think that you necessarily come off like the loving, compassionate, artistic, creative, sassy, classy human being. I think that you may come off as trying to control the situation and trying to use, for you females, your feminine wiles or your charisma or your charm or your magnetism. I feel like that it may come off wrong to some people. And I think with Jupiter getting ready to go retrograde, it's going to ask you to go back to see if your passions, your desires, your actions, the way that you used your charm, your charisma, your feminine wiles, whatever it is, did you do that properly? You know what I'm saying? Did Scorpio, did you just do things to get, even though you knew better, did you just do things to get what you wanted and you didn't use discernment? And your energies weren't necessarily directed because you were more focused on, like I said, getting what you want. And while I feel like what you want is the right thing, I feel like a lot of you Scorpios are after this soul connection. But are you going about it the right way? Who's catching hell? You know, who's catching your wrath? And you may not even realize it as you go about getting what you want in the month of February. Is somebody being shorted? Is somebody getting hurt? Is somebody being cheated on? Is somebody trying to get away from all of the information? You know what I'm saying? In the Saturn position, we have the Empress. Okay, and we got Scorpio. So we got got 3 major arcana, and we've got 3 court cards. Ooh, Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio, there's in relationships, there is more than one person involved. Okay. Man, I didn't want this video to run so long. But let's talk about it, Scorpio. There's more than one person involved. Ooh. I think there is some cheating going on. I also think that there is a lack of judgment and discernment for some of you. Ooh. Because, you know, maybe both you and the other person are strictly concerned about what it is that you want right now. With Mars being in Aries, you know, it's not your fault. Trust me. Because, you know, unfortunately, Aries can be a selfish sign. Me. It's about self-soothing and immediate self-gratification. And, you know, which has pretty much been a theme of this reading. Now, the Empress upright in the Saturn position, I think it's, you know, I think it's a good card to have in the Saturn position. Somehow, you know, I think that this shows, Scorpio, that you still end up getting what you want. And possibly even, you know, the way you want it. But I got this feeling that with the Empress in the Saturn position, it's like if you follow the rules, if you use discernment, if you use your judgment correctly, then you get so much more. You actually manifest something that is real rather than something that is just in the moment. Because the Knight of Wands, you know, when we talk about physical relationships and sex, the Knight of Wands is wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And, you know, the thing about now, when he's in the upright position, if he's in that relationship for that moment, he's in that relationship for that moment. He means it. But he gets easily distracted. You know, this is never trust a big button to smile. You know, that's what I'm saying? So the Knight of Wands could be doing one thing and, you know, some shiny passed by and he's off on another venture. Now, like I said, upright, his heart is in the right place. But, you know, there's just this need. I need it now. I want it my way. That I think maybe we can miss the details. I think that, you know, maybe we can use our gifts and our skills in a way that is not necessarily fair. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not beating up on you Scorpios. I have a Scorpio rising and a Scorpio moon. I am feeling this. Work with me. I'm just, you know, feeling like that this the Empress is saying that if we actually take time to follow the rules, let's pull out the rules and regulations, you know, the guidebook, and see how to handle whatever situations these are, like a responsible adult, and use our better judgment and discernment. I feel like that it really would give us the opportunity to get so much more out of our love relationships, our personal relationships, whether or not you are with the person that you're supposed to be with or not. I want to say too, you Scorpios who are dealing with this person, and you all, like I said, have this like kind of crazy like addiction to each other. Past life person. I think this is somebody you've been dealing with not only in this lifetime, but in past lifetimes. So Scorpio, let's see what the outcome is. We got the Emperor reversed. The Emperor reversed. So that makes us have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 major arcana in the 8-card spread with 3 court cards, 2 queens. Okay, Scorpio, I gotta say this. I'm feeling like for a lot of you Scorpio women, you are dealing with the Knight of Wands. And when he's with you, he's got the best intent. He's sexually attracted to you. He's into you. You know, he wants to take on the world with you. With these 2 queens, I feel like there are 2 women involved. Now, let me say this. This could be a same-sex relationship. So what I'm saying is, whether this be a man and 2 women, or whether this be 3 women, whether this be 3 men, but I'm sorry, I keep pointing to the Empress, and even with the Empress, this, I feel like this is more of a female energy. There's a lot of female energy in this spread. There's some hot energy too, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, I said before, Scorpio, I think that some of you Scorpios are dealing with somebody who has made some sort of name for themselves. They're, known in the community. And, this Emperor reverse to me speaks to that person. And I think that he or she uses their status in order to run these 2 queens. You know what I'm saying? To run back and forth. I think that maybe both of these women see this person as the end all be all, and he knows that. Now, the thing about it is, I feel like that, I kind of feel like, God, I hate to say it, I feel like that with both these women, when he's with them, he feels like, yes, he's sexually attracted to them. He's sexually attracted to them. He feels like he can take on the world with them. In that moment, he is the guy that you want him to be. If he's with the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Coins is the something shiny that rolls by and he gets distracted, and vice versa. And the 7 of Swords, I am so sorry that, this shows cheating. And when I get off camera, I got a bone to pick with somebody. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to put all my business out here. Anyway, yeah, Scorpio, we got to take it to the altar. We got to face the truth, babe. Your man or your woman might be this guy, and you may be running away from the facts. Okay?